I think of the books is really to inspire younger people and, to follow their dreams. And then in the adult version, as you said, to have the adults find a way to help people support their dreams. And I think a lot of the things that we try to do with Citizen Body, it's like that growth and that nurturing of what somebody wants to do. Like we talk about the body being, specialized cells, and the cells might work and they're an organ, and the organs work, either in conjunction with other organs or independent of. But the point is we're all in the same body. Maybe we're doing different functions, but we're all trying to work together. And part of being able to work together is nurturing, somebody else who might not have the same dreams or desires that I might have, but get them working in their optimal capacity in what it is that they do, because it really just contributes to the harmony of everyone across the board.
Society, humanity. Yeah. This is what it's all about. If you don't inspire, you don't know unless you've seen something or heard something or something, you don't just make things up on your own. You get inspiration from people and sources. So you also have to be very responsible about the words you use and, how you deliver your messages, and to encourage things inside of people that they may not even realize is encouragement for them. I'm sure that dancing school realized that they had all eyes on them, and people in that audience, like myself as a second grader, may want to grow up to dance. That's why they do this. But the nurturing part of it is only after they can get you in their grips. It's like, come here, so I can form you and get you where I need you to be. And that part there, that juicy part that I told you, the details of listening to these master teachers and explain intricate things to us about how to move and connect the dots from your thoughts to your feelings to your muscles, to actually paying attention to it as a step-by-step process, and then it becomes a format. And if no one ever guides you, you're not going to complete it with that way. You may have to seek it. But one way or another, if you have to have it, get it. You're going to go get it. What is yours is yours. It is just so much better to see that encouragement, feel that encouragement from your surroundings. So you don't have to search for resources to make that happen. Hopefully someone can recognize the different gifts that you show and are demonstrating. I don't know that people get the different gifts that people demonstrate to help them. I'll also tell you something that's weirdly borderline sad, strange, artsy fartsy. My own partner, Leon, and this always sticks in my mind. He would say this sentence to me, and that would be it. You don't know what you really have. He would never explain what he meant by that. He would just say that sentence to me. As you can tell, there's a lot in me because I've done a lot. Yeah. He passed away in like 1999. He just never explained to me what he meant by that. And I have had to figure out what kinds of things I'm made of and what that meant. And what he meant was people copy you. There's something about your presence. There's an aura that is unique signatures for each individual. And when you are a standout person, you are a standout person. You should use your standoutness to do whatever it is you're doing and, change the world. No one ever told me this. I had to figure that out myself. Not even my partner, who understood it, would say that to me. So So, even though we created Carols in Color and, brilliance, is happening, the synergy of 15, 17 years together was amazing. He could never tell me that. And I find that rather selfish as an artist, but then I find that artists are selfish. So there are also things that you have to understand about, I guess, just the ego of artists. And then you realize that's not just artists. People who are in charge of things have tendencies to protect themselves by keeping their standards highlighted and not someone else's.
Yeah.
And that right there, to me, I don't do that. I like everyone to be a star. I see
Yeah.
your brilliance. Because I can see it in me, so I can see it in you. I know what it took for me to have to learn inch by inch, step by step, what that is. So I can see it and feel it in each person that I run across. Which is why I was explaining to you earlier about the whole dancing process and training people. And, I don't have that. I'm not built that way. I'm built empathetic for, I guess, a reason. And that's to show others that you too can be empathetic to everyone if it means something to you. It's got to mean something to you.
Yeah.
So everyone doesn't have that. And that's a big lesson to learn, I guess, period, not just in the arts, but just period, that you're going to have to learn the different ways of perspectives and why they even exist, and your journey through them to let your light shine.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny when you were saying that about like artists are selfish and when you need to own that piece, you know what I mean? When you're the person in charge. And like for me, I'm not much of an artist person. I'm a little bit more of a sports person and athletics. And, for me, I go right back to Lance Armstrong, everybody's favorite villain. He's actually, I really like him. He's a very interesting person. And, I've been following cycling for, several years. And when the whole thing came out, did he do it or didn't he do it? And I was like, well, I'm not a pro level myself. I know what it takes to be at that level. And if they're all doing it, after a while, I'm like, I sure as heck hope not, but I'm not going to say absolutely not, And when it came out that there was the potential that this was happening, all right, we've got him, but we can't quite get him, what's going on. And like you see, like a lot of the other people were talking about him and his teammates, and they're like, he's a jerk. He's not, he's not a good person. And it was like, well, to win the Tour de France 7 times, you do have to, you've got to you're going to pull the selfish card. And that's what happens, Yeah. So, but there's also a lot of selflessness in art, because when you're doing what you do, when you teach, like teaching is I think it's a very selfless act. You're putting the education, the welfare of another person as the priority. It has you step back because it's not about what you say, it's about what they take in.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. The hardest part about that is in the physical sense, and you understand this because you're a physical person, is when you have to now push them to the edge of their physical exertion. And then they have to go beyond that, and they're young, and, and they go home and they're complaining, and their parents are like, I think you're too tough on my kid. It's like, sorry to have to tell you this, but muscles grow by them breaking down, and then it builds up again. So that process is also painful on your mind, and it's hard to watch. My father told me when I was in high school, he too was a runner at Overbrook High School, and he was a part of the pioneers when they first began. Explained to me one morning after I woke up and refused to get out of bed because my body hurt too much from, all week dancing in school. I just couldn't understand how you could ask me to stand up and walk. And he was explaining to me the only way for you to get better is to go through every day the way you are.
Yeah.
That's just it. And it takes a lot. And you can do this. I was late to school that day, but I got there.
But you got there.
And
I remember the first time I used to play volleyball a lot, just recreationally in high school. And we didn't have a volleyball team at the time. And I went to college. In my first year in college, I was like, well, I love volleyball. I want to learn more. I signed up. So it was kind of more like a camp and tryouts. We weren't like, the top level team, this isn't Penn State, but, we were, I probably like a Division III school, I'm going to guess. It's so long ago. But I remember going to volleyball camp, and our coach, he had like this little patented device that we'd wear to learn how to bump. And you were holding your arms, out in this really awkward position because he's teaching you the right way to move. And, of course, I'm a shorter person, so I'm playing backcourt. So I'm getting down low and I'm digging, and I got this thing that I got over my shoulders. And the next morning, I have never, I ran track in high school. I did lots of different things. I never felt so sore where I literally could not move. And every other girl in that camp and they had more volleyball experience than I did. Every girl in that camp felt that same way. And he was like, where is everybody? We were all in the dorms, and we were like, we can't move. So I made
you still have to do it again.
I made the mistake of sleeping on the top bunk. I think I had to kind of roll down to the floor because I was not taking the ladder. But when you commit,
you're right. You don't feel it until the morning. Like you make it home that day, but the next morning you were after resting.
Yeah. Yeah. And then once we got moving and got a little Advil in us, we were okay. And we could, limp our way through the next phase of camp. And then it got better, and you kept doing things. But I could see that with dance where a parent might say, hey, you're too hard on my kid. And it's like, well, where do you want them to go? If you want them to maybe just be at a certain, they don't need to get that sore. Maybe they don't need to do all that stuff. But if your kid wants to really strive for that next level, what are you comfortable and uncomfortable with them putting themselves through?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I always feel for them because you don't want to see your child in pain. You don't want to see them or hear them cry. And, I get that. But I also know what I had to cry. And my father watched me cry and still said, you have to do it again.
Yeah. And
for him to be that strong, I mean, I didn't see my mom at all that day. My dad handled everything that day.
because at that point you would have been, mom would have pulled you out of it and said, yeah, you're done.
and you can't pull me out of high school,
Yeah. Yep. Not going yet. You really can't.
All you can do is encourage her to keep going. You got to do it again. This is what it takes. And if he wasn't a physical person himself, he would not have known that. My mother did not know that. She's not a physical person. It just would not dawn on her. No, just take some Tylenol and sit down and drink some water, No, that and a lot of people don't understand the pain growth, the growth in the pain, almost like beauty is pain when you put on your high heel shoes and your feet are hurting and you're like, well, beauty is pain. Well, it's the same thing with dance. It's the same thing with development, period.
Yeah. Yeah, this is true. Yeah. So when you're you've got people, so you teach in your studio. What ages do you have students?
From the babies up to all adults. So we start them from age 3, hopefully. if they're really incredible kids that are good in their Pampers, you know, and they know what to do. So long as they don't have to have Pampers, you know, they're fine. That's the rule. Or yeah, they need to be out of Pampers. There you go. To come
Okay.
dance at the studio. And then of course the adult classes go to anyone who is an adult, and we take everyone. I also used to teach senior citizens, so you needed to be a card carrying 55-year-old and up in order for me to teach you at a couple of recreation centers where I specialized in the senior citizen um, audience, and I taught them tap dance for about 10 years. I love them up to, I think my oldest student was 92.
Yeah.
Or
Wow.
92, yeah. So from 55 to 92 were my students at that place. And my youngest student in regular dancing school was 3, incredible 3-year-old. So from like 3 to, oh, you know, 3 to your 90s. That has been my course of teaching.
Wow. Yeah. And what types of dance do you teach?
My favorite is tap dance. It's what caught my attention at the beginning of the recital, of my girlfriend's recital. And that's what I wanted to grow up, do, and become. Sing and dance like a tap dance person, a song and dance person. Then tap dance was the last thing I learned. uh, so I'm actually more, my body is really good at modern dance. It took to modern dance more than anything else. So I'm a Horton master. Horton technique is what Alvin Ailey uses. So when you
Okay.
see the Alvin Ailey company, the technique that they use to train that they base their choreography from and their dancers on is the technique that I'm best at teaching. And then I can teach Graham. That's next, real close second. It's like Horton Graham. It's right there.
Okay.
Then there's and then I can do, of course, all kinds of improvisational things. I do tap dance, jazz, Power 99 FM. We're one of their, you know, from the door. So I'm a jazz dancer, a nightclub dancer. Um, uh, oh my goodness, what don't I do? Well, when you do jazz, you have to do a variety of things because jazz crosses a lot of social boundaries. And when hip hop started, we had to make sure there was a delineation between hip hop and jazz.
Yeah.
You know, everybody loves throwing everything into the same pot. But hip hop was a street dance, just like tap dance was a street dance. So those two methods of street dancing are completely different. And I was well versed in hip hop when it first came out, you know, because Power 99, your hip hop, you got to do it. So even us girls had to learn to spin on our backs. You know, but
yeah.
I was like a fly girl. But don't ask me to do anything past fly girl stuff. Like that was it. I can't do today's stuff. I don't understand, but I get it, you know. And I can do, I don't know, I can do almost anything because they made us do everything. And I'm a chorus line dancer. So my first big job was a chorus line dancer with the circus.
Okay.
You know, the big plumes and, you know, point shoes and everything. So I've done everything from points work to character heels to showgirl in the bikinis. And, you know, I was also a magician's assistant. I was the floating, levitating magic lady.
Ooh.
I know, how much fun is that?
Are you going to give up the flying secret or no?
I'm not supposed to. No, I can't give that up. I would feel awful.
I won't ask you to.
So awful. I have never given that secret up in all these years. I would feel awful.
Yeah, no, I won't ask you to do it. But if you wanted, it would give us a little extra podcast cred or something like that. I don't know. But I won't ask
I
you to
will
give that
tell
one.
you that it is definitely a trick.
Yeah.
It's definitely a trick. I am not levitating up there by myself. But
Oh
it
my goodness.
sure does look like it.
So when you're teaching, like a student, I just know from the only dance experience I have is watching my niece at her recitals, and she started when she was little. It's about her older brother and sister, sports, 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 and she came along and she's the artist. And she wrote me a really cute little book that I still have. It was The Great Things My Aunt Has Done, A-N-T. And, and it was about the time that I took her to the movies and something else that we did. It was like two things, but it was all the great things that we did. And her dancing, like she's basically like, she took tap, she took ballet. She's actually a very good hip hop dancer. And I've seen her in her recitals, and actually she's got one coming up and they're doing it virtual. So I think you can like log in, see it on YouTube or something. But she's got one coming up, and it's her last one because she's a year out of high school. She's almost 20. So, like she's kind of like,
Aged
dancing
out
her way.
program,
She's
yeah.
aging out of the program. But like I remember, going year after year, and you'd see some of the other, like the kids that from the community, and the older ones, they get a solo, or there might just be two or three of them doing a number together, and like one person's kind of like the lead dancer. And just because of like the way that COVID happened, I never got to see her get into that solo and lead role. And I know her virtual one, she will get to do that. But I know they wanted her to take, like with the curriculum in the dance school that she went to, it was like, okay, well, if you want to take hip hop, you need to take some, like they wanted you to have a foundation.
That's right. You need a foundation of something. That's right.
Yeah.
Something wrong.
I wouldn't have put ballet with hip hop, but it makes a lot of sense.
Balance is balance.
Yeah.
You need to learn balance. You need to learn what it means to stand on both feet, what it takes to shift your weight from one side to another. What does it take to make a presentation? When you're doing hip hop, you are using your discipline over your muscles. Now, wouldn't it be nice to know what your muscles can do so you can put them through even more paces, even though people got it naturally, because that's what it is. Hip hop has evolved to where they have taken it from just being street to combining elements of traditional grounding to become more expressive and crossover for the stage. If you're going to dance next to these people and so you think you can dance, you've always seen how only the trained technical dancers will always go past those hip hop dancers. The hip hop dancers will only make it but so far on the show with their incredible tricks and everything. But for them to win, no, you got to have an extension that does something like this, a 6 o'clock extension, and you need to Ronda Jean that baby. So that's not what they do in hip hop, but they appreciate it exists. So they have their own take on those things. They'll take that 6 o'clock Ronda Jean and they'll play with it in their own body to create an imaginary way to give an impression of not with your leg, but of how that movement works, period. And they may digest that just, using their arms and their bodies in a certain direction to make things. And then they add stuff that regular dancers can't add to that, so come on. God bless them.
And I know you teach a lot of different type of dances. So we're not just talking ballet, tap, jazz, hip hop.
That's right.
You mentioned flamenco.
That's right. I enjoy flamenco. I won't teach that, but I do teach African. And I do teach step, African and African step, and
an Irish step.
I will substitute teach that because I've had a bit more of that than anything else. I used to perform Irish step, so I don't mind going in and doing a sub teacher for that thing. but you know, again, that's just because I happen to have had to learn it, because I needed to perform and get paid. so,
Yeah.
so I do good with anything that you challenge me, you know, or is you put in my hands to get, and I have to get in front of people. I take it very seriously, and it just gets into my body. Um, even if I forget that I know it, it'll come out of my body with the influence of the music structure. If there's music around that is that, it'll come out because it's now in there.
Yeah. Now, what about if um, I I knew that my partner Sean and we the first time I am not a classic dancer at all, and about a month after we met, he asked me to go. He said, "I have a couple of formal things that we need to go to," and it was like, we had just kind of started dating, and I went with him to a benefit. And they had a band, and of course, so we got, you want to dance? Sure. And it was like, we looked at each other. Oh, okay. So this is how we move. Oh, okay. Like you learn a lot about another person by watching them dance. And we were actually asked that evening, they asked us if we were paid to show up and dance, because nobody at this benefit knew us. They said, "Are you guys paid to?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm really not that good, but dancing with him, he made me look that good, and it was a lot of fun. We had a great time. Now, would you teach folks to dance? You know what I mean? Kind of like all over dancing.
Okay. So also, yes, I would. When Mad Hot Ballroom, there is a film. Have you heard this film, Mad Hot Ballroom?
No.
It's a film about fifth graders learning ballroom.
Okay.
And it's a regular major release film. It came out 15.
I'm writing it down.
You got to watch it. It's an amazing film. The creator of Mad Hot Ballroom created the fifth grade curriculum in ballroom dance for that exact reason, so that men, women, as they grow, they will understand social dance is a means of communication. It goes beyond your language, because there are many times that you are in school with children who are from a different country, and they are now integrating them in schools, and they may not understand the words so much, but they certainly understand body movements and gestures, and how it affects, things that are kind gestures, things that are not kind gestures, and to bring all of this together. Now, this fellow brought that program to Philadelphia, and I was there for its pioneer first 5 years here in Philadelphia, and I got to teach ballroom to fifth graders. So I can do ballroom and waltz and the rumba and the tango and the quick step and things of that nature, for at a fifth grade level. So are you smarter than a fifth grader? Not in ballroom dancing, but
but maybe I can dance like one.
So yes, but the technique of it is still the same. It's, if you know technique, you know technique. So and since I am a dancer, I can still take what I know and create things with it.
Yeah.
So I love teaching ballroom dance as well.
Okay. Now, also speaking of film, you actually have a movie out as well. It's called Be the Rhythm.
Yes, Be the Rhythm. It is Be the Rhythm is the second book. Her chronicles continues. I took that script and I made a visual format for it. So the idea of seeing what it means to become a structure that is a cog in the wheel of the rhythm of life and the rhythm of dance specifically, was the format for this. And it came really out of me wanting to put my new dance company, Jada. I switched from the name Leja just a few years ago in 2009 to the name Jada, J. Allison Dance Academy. Whereas, the other one also included my partner. This name is just me. So J. Allison Dance Academy, Jada, is the name of my company. And I wanted to go back to the concert dance world. And we were testing ourselves out in New York. We were going to New York and doing concerts and participating in performances in New York City for a couple of years. And then the pandemic struck. And we were just burgeoning on putting together an entire evening's performance, but now we can't do that, or so I thought. Turns out I already had the material in my hands. I had the video of us performing for those 2 years with two of the sections of the full evening's work that I was compiling. I had already done the solo work that went in the middle of it. There was just one more section that needed to be completed, the finale. And as soon as the COVID restrictions let up that we can allow 10 people in a space at a time to happen over that summer, I got in there with my dancers and we created that final section. So I was able to put together the entire evening's length work, put it on film, use my book, the text from the book as the through line, with the solo in the middle, and it became a documentary film. And we just won Best Documentary.
Oh, what? Wow.
Over the weekend. Over this past
When I asked you earlier, I said, what's going on? What do you have going on lately? You were like, oh, nothing. Okay. So you won Best Documentary.
Yeah, I just got best documentary. I forgot about that. I take things for granted sometimes. That's so strange. I need to write these things down and just look at it. Jay, you are really an accomplished person. I don't know. I got to do better at that.
Okay, so you won Best Documentary for the movie.
Yes.
And you also told me that you're heading out to Las Vegas soon to get an award for it's an award for excellence in education.
This is true.
Yeah.
Global, I think that second word is focus. I got to look them up. The Global Focused Educational
Leaders.
GFEL, GFEL. They're going to beat me up for messing that up. This group is a global educational platform where they want to increase the teachers, the educators' knowledge base for world inclusion, and those who can innovate in education to assimilate for, as we were talking about, people who learn in different capacities. What can you do to get them to learn? What do you need to learn to help them learn? And it's been amazing to be sought after for that kind of a reason. I've also taught in the Overbrook School for the Blind. So I've had children who couldn't audibly speak, but I sure could get them to tap dance and to understand rhythms and be able to communicate actions and movements. I've worked with the Variety Club for several years with the Philadelphia Civic Ballet Company, and we created a dance company for them that were able-bodied, the Civic Ballet Company and the disabled-bodied working together. So we had the wheelchair and us, and we would take them out of their chairs sometimes and put them on mats and would do ballets with them on the floor, and just lots of big body and upper body and port de bras. And we would use whatever they had that could move, we would use, and it's brilliant. Alicia Craig started that program. Alicia DeCarrie and Craig, the founder of the Philadelphia Civic Ballet Company. They were the oldest ballet company in Pennsylvania, by the way. And that company folded in 2011. And I was the director of that at that point, the manager of that company at that point. And what an honor it was to be a part of the Variety Club family and to be able to bring even a couple of their dancers that were on canes that I taught percussive dance to and bring them to Tap Dance Festival in Philadelphia and have them perform with able-bodied people. So that whole scope of how do you teach people on different levels of different capacities and abilities, I've experienced all of those levels. So to be recognized for that is kind of big. I'm surprised that they found me, but also excited, even though I forget to talk about these things. I'm excited that the work that I do actually speaks for itself.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, that's exciting. So right now you teach in a cyber charter school, correct?
That school suffered Education Plus Cyber Charter. It had to close after 5 years. It was a beautiful school. It had to close. So since it closed, I decided at that point, I have my dance company. I'm teaching in dancing schools, and I was teaching daytime phys ed and dance to these children that I'm not getting any younger. With all of the experiences that you just heard, that's over 40 years.
It takes a toll.
It takes a toll. So physically speaking, I need a break. So I no longer go into the physical education daytime school. I meet the children after school. I will meet them after school. You can come to the dancing school, and then I can have my company as well. So that's where I'm leaving that. And since I've crossed over into making film,
Yeah.
I have a few other films that are, I can't wait to get them out. Like in my head, it's exploding. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. So, and if I had daytime work, I wouldn't be able to have those thoughts in my head. It's just too many places that are taken up by all of the children and the concern that you have when you're with them. So, fortunately, it closed, and I did not have to walk away from children.
So did you find that some of the students because as we're talking, I'm hearing of like a company like this, like something folds, or a former good business relationship dissolves, and like then it's like, okay, like with citizen body types of things, okay, what's going to take its place? Hopefully it's going to be something that's better that grows out of that. But is it hard to sustain a business?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How do you do it?
By hook or by crook. It's I'm just a never say die type person. Even if something fails, I have to fail it about 5 times before I give up. It's like, did that really fail? Let me try that again. Oh my God, that still didn't work. Okay, I'm gonna try it this way. Oh, really? Oh, come on. Oh, okay, this is really getting to me. But by the 5th time, it finally sinks in. It's not going to do something else. Keep adapting, or just, find something else. You cannot keep this the way it is. I'll let it go. And maybe that space, that opening, gives me a sight and a vision that I wasn't able to accomplish when my head was doing this so much.
Yeah.
So, sometimes the break in between gives you the opportunity to see what you could not see when you were too busy to see it.
You were too engrossed into it. Yeah.
Right. And I was able to find other ways and other resources that I weren't looking at before. So being very resourceful is how I was able to pull together the movie, because that takes money. I had to have a filmmaker, their equipment, everything, it costs money. These are thousands of dollars you have to give up. And I still have a company, and you need to pay them for being in here or figure out how they're going to get paid. And during the pandemic, I've got the movie out there for the Fringe Festival here in Philadelphia. We got started with that last year in the Fringe, from September to October last year. And we had an audience, so they paid for tickets. So we got some money that I could split up between the dancers. Now, it isn't a whole heck of a lot because, you know, it's just that way. But I put it into film festivals now where other people across the world get the opportunity to see it, and money can come into a bank account that way as well. But you also have to be recognized. So getting this best documentary was a good help because
Yeah.
now it still is taking this amount of time to even get this. So now more people will watch that film, um, and money can come into that little bank account that they set aside, and I can give that to the dancers. But I have the dancers, because it's a private link, um, that the film festivals use. I gave that link to the dancers during the Fringe Festival to ensure that they could earn money themselves. Anybody wanted to see the concert and then perform, pay them a little $5. They would send you the link and you can have the film. And you know, that's my way of figuring out how to get artists money. Because what are you going to do during this pandemic? It's hard. You got to be
Yeah.
resourceful and just think of any possible way that you can to put money into artists' pockets. And the flexibility of having a film festival cycle, 2 to 5 years is about the length of time you can keep a film in the festival circuits. And during that time, is the amount of time that I can give these dancers that opportunity to sell themselves in their own concert, like you're buying a ticket, buy a ticket to a show. Here,
Yeah.
buy your own ticket to a show for your family who wants to see you dance. Here you go. Instead of buying that $18 ticket to go to the recital, pay this nominal online, you know, to pay for the to see the film online, way less, $5, and you know, put that money in your pocket and keep going until I've cut it off and we're going to leave that circuit. I put it on YouTube. Now everybody can watch it. It'll be for the world, you know, to have access to. But artists have got to try to have earnings. So that's my way of figuring out how to put money in my dancers' pockets.
Yeah. Well, that's one way that we can get people to support the arts. And again, as we're wrapping up, so Citizen Body, we've been talking with Jay Allison today. So we've got the movie, which is Be the Rhythm. Where would we find it if I wanted to access that? Where do I go?
Well, to access it, you would have to go to the film festivals as they are. On my Facebook page and on my Instagram page and on my Twitter pages, I will always put up the documentaries appearances in whichever festivals. Now, you would need to Google that festival. A lot of the times, those festivals aren't giving me their link. It's the strangest thing I've ever gone through in my life. But the festivals are real and they are online because of the pandemic. So you can always watch it through their means, or just go to any of my page and contact me and say, I want to see your film. Or if you know any of the dancers, you know, just say, hey, dancer, I want to see your film. And they'll say, oh, great. Venmo, PayPal, whatever you have, send a little $5 and we'll send you the link and you can see the film. I cannot wait to release it though. It's like I have one more year in the film cycle, in the film circuit, for Be the Rhythm. For my calculations, I'm only going to keep it in for 2 years, not a full 5 years. I'm not going to do that, but 2 years, and then I'm pushing it out there on YouTube for everyone to see. But the book is available.
Yep.
You can always get Her Chronicles Continues, because that's what the film is based on. The film is based on the book. And that's available at Amazon and Barnes and Noble. You can find it.
Yep. And then the original book, Chronicles of Carolyn Color, that would help us to inspire our younger people who want to find a possible career in the arts.
That's right. That's exactly right. And again, you can find that on J. Allison Productions, Jada, on Facebook. J. Allison Productions and Jada, or J. Allison, the author page. Yeah, J. Allison, the author page for the book. J. Allison Dance Productions on Jada, or just look for J. Allison on Facebook. Inbox me what you would like. I'll give you everything you need.
Okay, and if some of us need to learn how to dance or dance better, we can come find you too.
That's right. I am here for that.
Awesome.
Dance, whatever your pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being with us today. And remember, you are watching the Citizen Body, the Bodycast. And if you are enjoying and like the content, remember, you can always subscribe. And if you enjoy the content, let us help keep bringing it to you. Click the red donate button. And again, it's either, some gave all gave some. We're just asking all to give some. So if you can, please help us out with that and subscribe to our podcast, to our newsletter. We have micro lessons, we have comics, a lot of content that really just kind of helps us be a more cohesive unit together and learn how to relate to each other as the citizen body. Until next time, take care. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Jada.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jay. Yep. All right. Bye-bye.